Good evening, everyone! Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I am your host, your YouTube Messiah, off limits, never duplicated, as well as the only motherfucker out there that can make a leopard printed Santa hat look good, Tim Vicious, and gonna go over right as we was in the Thunderdome. Now, before we get into that though, big thing that it's sad to announce, but last Wednesday that passed, that was officially, and it was announced, Pat Patterson passed away. It's very sad because Pat was one of those. It was one of those names that you just knew was synonymous with not just WWE, but with wrestling, you know? I mean, I've never seen, and I will be the first to admit, I have never seen any of the tapes or anything with Pat and Ray Stevens, but my God, the stories that I have heard about those fucking matches, just, man. And I grew up seeing some of Pat's classic matches, watching the stuff on like ESPN Classic on Saturday mornings. So it's sad. It's sad to see. He was a long-time member of the company. Yeah. I don't know on how else to put it. All I know is I could just imagine he's up there right now, sitting there, having a cigarette, talking to Eddie Guerrero, and, you know, Kurt Hennig, Dusty Rhodes, all of the greats, and talking about on how, we're gonna have a good match tonight, and it's gonna go banana. That's honestly the best I could really think of, but all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna miss you. Now, to try and move onward to a lighter note, I'm gonna highlight big news that did break out as well on that Wednesday. I know I don't normally talk about other stuff, you know, because a lot of people tend to think I toe the WWE company line, but to them, let me just remind you, go fuck yourselves. I don't. It's just the simplest one for me to be able to call because given my daily schedules and everything that I do during the day. Kenny Omega won the AEW World title on Wednesday against Jon Moxley, with help from Don Callis, and then at the end of the show they said they'll reveal what's going on between Kenny and Don Callis on Tuesday night on Impact. So this coming Tuesday we're going to be seeing AEW and Impact working together. Much honestly, it kind of reminds me of like in the old days, like in the old DVD trading days, if you will, of like with the Ring of Honor versus Combat Zone sort of stuff. You know, you saw a little bit of mixture between them both and all that jazz. And I'm just thinking, man, it'd be cool to see Su Yung against Abaddon, the Good Brothers against the Bucks. Personally, what I want to see is All Ego Ethan Page work on Tuesday, and then see the Karate Man working Wednesday. That's just me though, and I'm silly and really and if it makes me laugh, then that's what I want. That's what I go for, as far as random stupid shit booking like that. But yeah. So this coming Tuesday, we're gonna be seeing that. I hope that all goes well. I'm not gonna lie, since Bound for Glory this summer, Impact has really, seriously shifted gears and tilted the nose up instead and had a lot of people no longer thinking, ha ha ha, it's old school LOL TNA shit. You know, I mean, if you watch it, you may pick up some of it if you've seen enough of it, but it don't really feel like that LOL TNA stuff anymore. That's to me though. Now we're going to go into last week via the SmackDown Rewind, and the big highlights from last week's SmackDown was, well, it's official. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns are going to be going at it at TLC. They did a Pat Patterson Memorial Tribute match, a trios match. Big E, who got his own new entrance music via Wale and came out doing the old chalk stuff. That's the big highlight from that one. Setting up building the foundation for a Bayley versus Bianca Belair feud. And let's see, what other big highlights happened? Carmella and Sasha Banks is officially set for TLC as well. Other than that, really, yeah, that's about it. So, with that said, on to this week's show. It starts off with Randy Orton coming out to the ring. He says point blank he wants Bray. So Bray comes up onto the Tron. They start doing and Bray Wyatt does his own random rendition of The Price is Right. And you know, his prizes were a crucifix-like symbol, the weird crucifix-like symbol, or the decaying corpse of Friendship Frog, which WWE officially crossed the line there, auctioning off a corpse on national television nonetheless. The nerve of those people. But yeah. Randy then said, you know, cut the crap, cut the games. I got The Fiend coming up at TLC. But tonight, I want you, Bray Wyatt. So that became official, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. We'll get into that. But before that, we're going to get into the first match of the night. My future third ex-wife, Asuka, going against Shayna Baszler. And this has been a match many of people, including yours truly, has been salivating, waiting to see. Now, should note beforehand that it was officially announced Asuka and Lana are going to go against Shayna and Nia Jax at TLC for the women's tag titles. And while a lot of people are going to sit there and think, you know what, no, I don't like this. I don't want the idea of Lana having a title. Here's the thing, and I've gone over this last week. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse continuously saying this shit. Lana has improved. Is she anywhere like... she is nowhere at a top tier level. No, she's not. She's not like... trying to think of the right way to say this. She's there, but she's not at her peak, you know, so to say. Much like on how, kind of like with Randy when he was in Evolution, they said, you know, they took him and they molded him. You know, they're working with Lana and they're trying to mold her. Now, is it going to stick? Probably not because, you know, one, internet, because we all know on how the internet feels about, you know, once the internet hates someone, they hate someone forever. And also because, you know, it's just, people are going to have their likes and dislikes. That's all it is, plain and simple. If it helps establish her and gives us a new face to see on TV, as opposed to, and when I say a new face, I mean like somebody that can act, some, you know, some different type of matches, then okay, I'm for it. I've always been a firm believer, anyone who's willing to step into the ring has the potential. You just got to pull it out of them. Sometimes you gotta coddle them, sometimes you gotta put a foot in their ass, sometimes you gotta make them do the damn, sometimes you gotta make them work until they puke. It all depends. But that's on how it goes with anything in life. As far as this match between Asuka and Shayna though, oh my god, this was good. It was submission for submission, you know. It was a lot of good solid in-ring work, and the in-ring work played out very much so, just on how I had it pictured up in here, on how it would go between them two. Now, the match, though, eventually came to an end when Nia Jax wound up confronting Lana. Them two started brawling. Nia tried putting Lana through a table. Lana countered, and Nia actually landed head first into a table. Shayna then starts yelling at Lana, who's then beat feet and out of there, and Asuka gets the win via a roll-up. I am not a fan of that ending, though. I'm not a fan of doing the quick roll-ups for ending, because it just feels like it's well, fuck. We got this great match. We got all this great shit right here. Well, what the fuck are we gonna do for our finish? Personally, I would have been okay with if Shayna had the Karabuta clutch in and then Asuka countered it into a pin, or if Asuka tapped her out with the Asuka lock or something, but I'm not going to sit here and armchair quarterback all the damn time. Anyways, next up we got mixed tag match, Reckoning and Slapjack, one of these days I'm going to get it right, okay, against Dana Brooke and Ricochet, which, you know, if you thought Asuka and Lana was the oddest odd couple to come out of 2020, whew, Dana Brooke and Ricochet, I did not have that in my big book of what the fucks. But anyways, as far as the match went, I'll say right now, the match was extremely short for my taste. I didn't like that. Personally, I would have liked the match to have gone in like at least a good 10, 15 plus minutes. Match didn't really get a whole lot of TV time, but in the end it made sense. I understood the reasoning, but I didn't like it either, to make the point. It was an extremely short-lived match. It was the girls were in, then the guys were in, and then the girls finished. That is honestly on how it went, and the match came to an end. Dana Brooke had Mia Yim Reckoning up in a fireman's carry position and then put her over for like what kind of looked like a modified Michinoku driver, I'd say, but I don't know. I've been scratching my head since I saw the damn move on what the hell to call that, but got the 1, 2, 3, that was it. After that, then you saw Mustafa Ali out there yelling and chastising them both, saying on how, you know, you guys are losing, you're a disgrace, this, that, and the other, and it's got the gears in the head turning, thinking, okay, they're losing a shit ton. They've been getting like this since Ali was on board. So my guess is they're probably going to wind up saying they're going to kick Ali to the curb and then try and go back to doing their shtick. Personal thinking though. Next up we got Kofi Kingston going against Shelton Benjamin, and first off, big ups for, as Shelton was coming out wearing his shirt, wearing his merch, saw his merch was a old throwback to him saying he was a gold standard. It's the Hurt Business shirt, but it says the gold standard, and then it had the Hurt Business stuff on the back, so really cool to see that. As far as this match goes, man, I dug the shit out of this. Shelton led through the match. Kofi, he tweaked his knee coming off of the top rope at one point. Shelton worked on it for a minute, and then this was a damn good match, man. Like I said, Shelton, he was leading throughout the whole way. Now, Shelton Benjamin, actually I shouldn't say Shelton, but Kofi got the win when he got the Trouble in Paradise after a near countout. So They were both on the outside. Shelton got in at the count of 8. Just as he got up on his feet, that's when Kofi, boom, popped him with the Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. That was it. After that, Cedric grabs a mic, coming off screaming white hot, talking about on how he wants a piece of Kofi because he's going to kick his ass no different than he did Woods last week. And then Woods is like, hey, you ain't got to do that, man. You ain't got to do that. Man, you're better than me because I wouldn't go out there and do that, do this. I already won. I would be going back. But Kofi, he goes and does it. And next thing you know, as far as the match went, Cedric went to town on his knee. He went to town working on Kofi's leg. You know, now Kofi, he got his come up, he got some shots in, but in the end, Cedric was the one putting Cedric put Kofi on the ass end of an ass kicking, and Cedric got the win doing the lumbar check. 1, 2, 3. So next up we got 2-on-3 handicap match. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus against Miz, Morrison, and AJ Styles. And before this, we had a little Miz TV segment, but it didn't really amount to much. You know, short from McIntyre through the briefcase. So far, it hit the LED board, and it was just like, nah. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed because, I mean, I saw Brock Lesnar do that first, and I was like, whoa, damn, that's a lot of stank on that throw. You know? You see it the first time, you're like, holy shit. You see it the second time, sometimes you may get wild, sometimes you may not. I wasn't. But as far as this match went, Morrison, man, Morrison got murdered right at the start, man. It was just straight up brutal. Just boom, he was murdered. That's all there was to it. Miz wound up becoming a punching bag after the commercial break, and then during some point during the match, while Miz was being killed out there, eventually Sheamus got boxed into excuse me. Sheamus got boxed into the opposing team's corner and then became a punching bag. McIntyre got the hot tag, came in, started cleaning up some, doing pretty good. Gave Jimmy enough time to go and catch his breath. Then he let him get back in. Sheamus, though, started going, throwing out bro kicks, pumped one off, wound up hitting Morrison with one. Then next thing you know, went to go for Miz, completely missed and actually hit McIntyre, who was behind him. And then wound up getting clipped with a phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3. So AJ, Miz, and Morrison won. Afterwards, in the back, you see Sheamus getting an interview saying, you know what, yeah, I did hit him. It wasn't on purpose, though. And I know the second McIntyre comes back here and he sees me, he's going to want to go and punch me in the face. So when he sees me, we're going to deal with it. Next thing you know, it shows them two brawling, and then one of the backstage guys tries to step in, and then they both proceed to beat the shit out of him and then put him through a table, which I died laughing at because, honest to goodness, I don't like doing too much on my personal shit because I don't want to make it all about me, but that, honest to goodness, had me howling laughing because that is me and my fucking brother, man. I kid you not. Me and my brother. It was, actually, come to think of it, it was about a year ago. Me and him got into a serious knockdown, beat down fist fight with each other, man. You know, we were throwing potatoes at each other and everything. You know, we're out in the middle of the street. Next thing you know, this one neighbor tries to go and start screaming and yelling at both of us, and then started saying something to our mom, and then we just stopped hitting each other like, what? And then we proceeded to go and beat his ass, and we're like, we good? Yeah, we're good. Oh, let's go. So yeah, that made me laugh. So I couldn't get mad at that segment because, like I said, if it makes me laugh, I can't yell at them. Which is why my son always tries to make me laugh every time he does something, every time he gets in trouble. Anyways, next matchup, we got Bobby Lashley versus Jeff Hardy, and you know, during the course of the show, you've been seeing Matt Riddle trying to pitch, saying he's looking for the Hurt Business, trying to pitch an idea to them called Bro Nuts, which just, no, there's just so much wrong with that. There are just so many jokes just sitting there right in front of me, and I want to make that I won't. All I'm going to say is I'm pretty sure Scott Stanford is calling gimmick infringement because he pitched that idea to Matt Cardona back when he was still doing that Z True Long Island story show. You know? And just, yeah. But either way, as far as this match meant, man, Bobby Lashley just straight up destroyed Jeff Hardy. He murdered him. And this has been the theme of the night, you know? It's just people getting their asses kicked. Not like a technical fight or a brawl or scuffles galore. No, the theme of the night was pretty much the opponent is getting put on the ass end of an ass whooping. That is it. That is the law for the night. And that's on how it pretty much was. But Jeff got put on the ass end of an ass whooping. He was murdered and then got hit with a hellacious spear, and then Lashley put in the full Nelson. Jeff eventually tapped after that and didn't want to let go. Riddle, who was out there keeping MVP from interfering, wanted to go and try and run in. MVP stopped him. And then they eventually let go and backed off. So, you know we're going to be getting a match between MVP, or not MVP, but Lashley and Riddle at some point, most likely at TLC, and didn't get you 20, it's going to be a title match. Not quite sure on how I feel about the idea of having Riddle as a champ. I mean, I'm a firm believer in the argument of is the person a draw. That's who I want as my champ. That's who I always want as my champion. Are they a loud, credible draw? Are they going to be a person that's going to want to make people tune in, put butts in seats, and buy shit for my company? That's my take. Anyways, now we come to main event of the night: Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, and Randy just straight up pummeled, you know, right up until the first commercial break. And afterwards, we see Randy leading after the break, but very much so as Bray Wyatt does, laughing maniacally, enjoying the pain, because. And again, I've explained this multiple times, the difference between the character of Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. Bray Wyatt is now this, kind of like this mutated version of a Mr. Rogers versus Jason Voorhees almost. And he's laughing because of all the pain you're inflicting on him. The Fiend is going to inflict back. That's what that's where the laughter comes in. It's not because people are thinking, oh, it's part of the character, he's supposed to enjoy it. No. I mean, maybe that may make sense, yes, but you look at it in a deeper sense. There's a huge difference between the two characters, you know? And it's The Fiend is trying to be, it's like a difference between the id and the ego, if you will. And that's where it is. And as much as I often shit on WWE for a lot of stuff, and let's all give credit where credit's due, yes, a lot of times they do deserve it. There are some times where they get it right, and an idea of a character like this, they got it right. You know? But anyways, as far as stellar way to close out the show, match came to an end. Randy was sizing Bray up for an RKO. Just as he was, the lights start flickering. You hear the maniacal laughter. And you're just like, what the fuck's going to happen? Randy, boom, then pops an RKO. And just as he's going for the cover, total darkness. Lights come back on. And Randy looks down. He sees the Fiend right there. And then the Fiend, pops him with a mandible claw. And then it ends with him doing that on the show. It ends with him doing that. End of sequence, fade to black. That's it. Good night, everybody. All in all, I'd say this was a hell of an improvement over last week's show. But yeah, it was a decent show. So that is it for this week's show, folks. So please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure y'all look for me on the Twitter at Tim Vicious. Also on my Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you're gonna look for me on my Facebook gimmick, let me know you found me on there from here. On my Twitter at Tim Vicious on Think I Creep John going. Also, folks, big thank you to executive producer of the show, Ali Right Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. Check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and such. Details are down below. Also, thank you to contributor of the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. There are a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, folks, don't forget to follow these cool ass casts already on the Twitter. @SomeMelon, Kenny Killer, DSB_IV, Diabolica RA, and Sergeant Curry Pants. And folks, like I always tell you, you love me great, you hate me.
I give a fuck about people who don't buy CDs. I burn out to all these streams.